Hi everyone, I'm Karen Robinson from littlepaperparty.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, and today I have the fourth project in this year's 12 Weeks of Halloween series to share with you, which is this really cute, very easy to make little gift bag. So let's get started. I am using the Plaid Tidings DSP that I've been using for the entire series so far, and today you'll just need a 6 by 4 inch piece. So this is a 6 by 6 DSP pack, so you'll just need to cut 2 inches off. Make sure that you save that because I'm going to use actually part of it on next week's project. But yeah, that's a nice big piece and you can definitely use it for something else, so you don't need to waste it. Now, because I'm using a 6 by 6 pack, 6 inch by 6 inch pack, I can only make one bag per sheet. But if you were using a 12 inch by 12 inch paper, then you'd be able to make 6 of these and there would be no waste at all, because you'd be able to cut down cut it in half and then into 4-inch pieces. So have a look at the paper that you might be using if you did want to make this bag, because you will get a lot more out of 12 by 12 sheet than you can out of 6 by 6. Okay, I'm going to grab the Simply Scored. I forgot to grab my scoring tool and pop it up into the corner. And so on the 6 inch side, we're going to score it at 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 4 1/2, and 5 1/2. Turn it 90 degrees, and then we're just going to score it at 1 inch to create the bottom. And I thought that was the wrong score line, but it seems good. I'll move it Simply Scored out of the way. I'm just going to give these a quick fold. I just find it helpful. I always seem to choose a dark coloured DSP for these projects so far, and yeah, I can't see. There we go, and I should have 4 score lines on the longer side, and I'm just trying to find the other one. There we go. So that's all folded and burnished. So we've got a little tab here. That's what's going to connect our bag together at the back. So the only trimming, not too much trimming. So with this, the little tab, which is just a 1/2 inch tab, we're going to just cut up. We're going to cut up to the bottom score line, wedge in and remove that section. And if you want, you can just very slightly just angle the top as well, which will just to help not have a little bit sticking up. And cut up the front bit. I'm going to wedge in these tabs. So these are the fronts and backs of my bag, and that will make it sit nicely. If you want, you can take a little tiny sliver off here. Sometimes, you know, when you put your bag together, you get like that little bit hanging over, but you don't have to do that. That's optional. Okay, so that is our bag. We might just put it all together. I used tear and tape for this one. You could use Tombow. You could use this. This is the Seal Plus. It's a new adhesive that Stampin' Up! Have brought out. I've only just received it, so I haven't played with it too much yet. I believe it's like the old fast fuse that we used to carry, so it's a really strong permanent adhesive, and I'm looking forward to it because I loved fast fuse and used it all the time. So I'm looking forward to using that again. So I'll put a little bit of tear and tape on here. So this was going to be the back, so if I just fold it around, that means this tab here is going to be the front. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of tear and tape on there now. This is a small bag, I'm not putting anything too heavy in there, so I'm just going to need one piece. Oh, sorry, now of course I'm doing this and now I have croaky voice. So just move that. Once again, if you've got any over the edge, you can just roll it back on itself. it's double-sided tape, so it's still going to be sticky. It's not going to lose its sticky. And then I'll just seal it up here. You can always go over that if you want to make sure you've got really good adhesion. Fold in the side tabs, fold over the back, and then it's always useful. I do use the grid paper, but the grid paper is great too, because then I can have things like my boxes being straight. Pop your bone folder or anything blunt inside if you want to, and you can give it a little rub from the inside to make sure it's got good adhesion. So I am going to make my bag like a little gusseted bag, and all I'm going to do is just push in the middle on the sides approximately, and then just give it like a little bit of a squeeze just at the top. If you want, you can kind of squeeze it all the way down, but just at the top will be fine for me. And we're going to put that aside, and then we're going to work on the decoration, and then we'll come back and we'll finish that off. But super simple. Before we get into stamping and making a little bit of decoration, how about we have a little look, and I'll give you a couple of ideas of what you can fit inside. I've finally got myself organized. I have a little basket of goodies here. So these are Haribo Happy Halloween. I found these at Aldi. I think I've only ever been able to find them at Aldi around Halloween time. So it'll easily fit those in there. I have bugs in here. Got a few smaller wrapped lollies, so it'll fit a few of those in there, probably 3 of those. And what else have I got? A couple of mini Mentos. They fit in there easily. And I had something else. This is a mini Chupa Chup. So that'll fit in there. And like, and actually the 2 mini Mentos. So no, it won't. And 1 mini Mentos. So you do see a bit of the sticking out the top, but if that doesn't bother you, that's fine. And these things, not these things are all easy to find. You can find them at Coles, Woolies, your local supermarkets. So yeah, lots, and there'll be lots and lots of other options. But even though it's really quite small, you can fit plenty in there. Definitely enough for a treat. So the images I'm using today are from the Have a Hoot set, which is in the holiday catalogue. It's so cute. This is my favorite set. And I'm using this image with the pumpkin, and then I'm going to stamp the sentiment Boo, because it's just small, and that's a nice small one. So I'm going to do all the stamping now. So I've just got a scrap of Whisper White, and for my owl, I'm going to use Memento Black, and I'm going to ink up on one edge of my thing. It's beautiful. And then for the Boo, I'm going to use Pumpkin Pie, which is one of the colors in this paper pack, and also that's like, I'm pretty sure that's that orangey color in there. So this is the old style ink pads. Stampin' Up! Now have new style ink pads. I am slowly replacing mine. Basically, as they need re-inking, then I'm replacing them, because the ink formulation is slightly different. They've added a non-foaming agent, so that when it's new, it's not bubbly and stuff. But yes, slowly changing them. Okay, now to colour my image, I used the Stampin' Blends markers, which are alcohol markers. I love these markers. And I'm not going to do all the colouring now, because that will take too long. I'm just going to do a little bit. I'll quickly show you the markers I used. I used the soft suede combo for the owl and the stem of the pumpkin. I used Mango Melody combo for inside the eyes and the mouth and the nose. I used the Pumpkin Pie combo for the actual pumpkin, and then I used light grey granite and the colour lifter for his eyes. And to do the eyes, you don't even need to colour the eyes. I just like it. I just think it looks better. It just needs a little touch of something. So what I do is I actually just add a little bit of this color. So whatever light gray, I tend to use a light gray, and I liked how the light gray granite used. Otherwise I might use a light smoky slate. And then I come back in with a color lifter, and then I'm just going to go over that and draw it out over the rest of the eye. And yeah, it just adds a little bit of I'm just gonna scribble off a scrap. Just adds a little bit of shading to the eyes, and I like how it looks. Now I am, so this is how I am currently marking my markers. I've just used a label maker, and yes, printed them out and stuck them on, and it's easy for me to, when I have them out, and especially if I have lots and lots of them out, and I can just quickly see because the printing is pretty small that's on them. I know that there are some other demonstrators that have come up with other options for labeling your markers. So you can always do a bit of a search and see what other people have to offer. I know that there's a demo in the United States, Wendy Cranford from Love and Stampin. I think it's loveandstampin.com, and she has made little circles that you can, like stickers, and you can just pop them on the end, which would be great because they are stored flat. Like, you don't store them this way because there's an end, like at each end, which is really, really great because you'd be able to easily see. I'm not sure if she sells that as is offering that as a PDF, or whether she's actually selling a physical product. So it's already printed out, and you get a physical stickers, and then you can just pop them on the ends of your caps. And I also don't know if she is selling a physical product, whether she's offering it internationally. But if you are in the US, I would definitely go and have a look, because I saw that. I thought that is a really great idea, and I would love to do that. So I'm going to do just a little bit of colouring, and not all of it because it will take too long. So I'm just going to start with the pumpkin, and so I'm using light and dark pumpkin pie. So I tend to just have both of them ready to go, and then I can just easily move between them. I am not an expert colorist with alcohol markers. I am still definitely a beginner, but I do really enjoy it. I do like the effects that you get, and it's fun, and I like it. And I think these markers are a great starting point for anyone who wants to have a go, have an experiment, because you can just get a light and dark of the one color. And because Stampin' Up! Has comparatively a reasonably small range, yeah, sometimes you can get too overwhelmed if there's too many things to choose from. But this is how I do it. There are other ways to do it. This is how I do it. It's what works for me, and I know a lot of people who are still beginners tend to do it this way. I tend to work from lightest to darkest, and then and I have a very, very simple technique. So I want the center of my pumpkin kind of being a bit lighter than here, because his candle's inside him and he's lit up and it's kind of glowing from the inside. So I'm wanting the top and the bottom to be a little bit darker. So I am going to start there. I'm starting with my light pumpkin pie marker, and I am also going to go over the creases because they are going to be a bit darker. They're the indents of your pumpkin. And then when I've done a bit, I'm going to come in with my dark marker, and I'm going to go over what I've just colored, and I'm going to go not quite to the edge of where I put the light. I'm coming back in with the light, and I'm going to go out a little bit further. Then with my dark for the second time, I'm going to come back in, and I'm not going to go as far as I did the first time, except I am just going to go over those lines. And then for the final time for this, I'm going to go back over everything, and I'm going to fill in the middle with my light marker. And that is my not very fancy technique of getting the shading. So it's darker on the top and then the bottom, and it's kind of lighter in the middle, except these stripes will also be a bit darker. And then I would just do the whole pumpkin and keep going, and yeah. So make sure that you cap your markers after you finish them. They are alcohol markers and they can dry out if you leave them. So then after I did that, coloured it all in beautifully. I used the coordinating Pick a Hoot dies to die cut this image out. And for the boo, I did use a die. I kind of experimented a bit, and then I found these dies. These are from Lawn Fawn. They're speech bubbles, and I used this little one here to cut out a speech bubble. If you don't have those, you could use any small die that you have. You could even just trim it out into a square shape and add like a little triangle on the bottom, or just a little square shape. It doesn't need to be a speech bubble. I happen to have those dies, and I thought that looked really cute. Now, after I had stamped the boo the first time, I thought it looked a little bit boring, so I decided to add a little face to it. So I used the basic black marker to do this. This is the only marker that Stampin' Up sells individually, and if you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one. They're really, really useful. They're very versatile. I use them for a few very specific things, but I use this a lot. And today I'm just going to use these really skinny end just to turn my plain boring boo into like a little bit of a spooky face. So just a couple of pupils and then some cranky looking eyebrows. And then I did that, and then I cut that out with the die that I showed you, and this is what I ended up with. So I've got my pumpkin and my little owl, and then I've got my boo. Oops. So he's kind of jumping out from behind the pumpkin and saying boo. I don't know why. I have to like have a little story going when I make things. So yeah. So I finished off this really, really simply. I just pinched the ends together, and I grabbed my crocodile. You could use any punch, any hole punch that you wanted to for this. You could punch a couple of holes, depending on how you want to close it. You could even staple it closed if it's for kids, and then pop a bow or an embellishment on the top, kind of to cover up the staple. But I'm just going to roughly put this, center this, punch a hole, and then I'm going to grab this gorgeous, this is really gorgeous, I've only just got this metallic mesh ribbon. So it's quite wide, it's really, really pretty. But I love it, it's sparkle. And I think it is in with the Halloween suite, but it will also, I think this will be absolutely great for Christmas, and I'll be using it that way as well. So I'm going to come through my front hole. I'm just making sure that is the front of my bag. There's my back seam. Come through there, come through there. I could have just all done that in one shot, but you know. Pull a bit through, and then I'm going to come over the top, and I'm going to come back through this front hole. I'm going to try to, we'll see if it worked. I mean, it worked perfectly the first time, but you know, when you're actually on camera recording something, then it sometimes doesn't. There we go. Then, just to help keep it closed, I've got a couple of little mini pegs. I'm just going to pop those on the side. I would, of course, put my treat, my little goodie in first, whatever I'm going to have. And then, because these are now both at the front, I can just very simply tie a bow. So for this one, I wanted quite a big bow, like a reasonable size bow. Sorry if I sound a bit croaky. I don't know why. I don't have a croaky voice, a sore throat or anything. I just seem to be sounding croaky. There we go. And when I get that to the size that I want, I need to cut off the excess. Oopsie daisy. Bigger scissors might have been handier for that. Remove my pegs, and then it's all sealed up, and then you can fuss about with it and make it prettier. And I don't know why, I just want a really big bow on this one. Big fluffy bow, loopy bow. And I am going to come in and just grab some bigger scissors and then just trim the ends however long you want them to be. So this ribbon is a little bit sheddy, I noticed. That doesn't bother me. Like I can see like little bits there. If it does bother you, just be aware of that. It is a little bit sheddy, like when you cut it, just probably because it's, you know, just a mesh open thing. Okay, and then the final thing is to add our image on. So I decided to pop both of these up. I'm using dimensionals. So a couple on the back of my owl and one on the back. Yeah, I wasn't sure if this one needed a mini one, but he doesn't. Just regular size dimensional will do. Remove the backing and pop him wherever you want him to be, or her. I guess it doesn't have to be him. I'm going to pop it a little bit higher. Well, I probably should have put him on before I closed the bag, and then I could have pressed from the inside, but that'll do. And then I'm just going to add my boo. So he's like jumping out from behind the pumpkin and saying boo, which makes perfect sense. So that is the project for today. Yeah, I hope you liked it. This is really cute. I'll have to fluff around with that bow later. You don't want to see me doing that. So really quick, easy, simple to do. You could make loads of these. These are the perfect kind of project to make for class gifts, or if you have a Sunday school class or a part of another community after school care group or something like that. You could make lots of these really quickly. Once again, if you have 12 by 12 paper, it is even more economical because you can make 6 from one sheet with absolutely no scraps, no waste at all. And even though I've used an image that does need some coloring, you could use something completely different or find some stickers that would be perfect as well. Or what I did one year with my son for Christmas, I stamped out all the images and I gave them to him, and I said, here, you go and color them, and then the kids, you know, can color them in. And he really enjoyed that because, you know, he was kind of part of the process then, and yeah, and he really liked it. And then we just die cut them out together, and you know, he attached them to his goodie that he was taking to share with his class. Well, that is everything I have today. A super sweet, simple, quick and easy project for you to make. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week with project number 5. Bye.